Gintalang suddenly turned pale, crying oh and siak red moon, key moon dialed, leak entire breeze and bright moon garden was instantly bathed in a crimson glow lie a blood-soaked sunset, Li bright red moon on the dial hung in mid-air, making everyone who looked up freeze in absolute horror. Lai Yingxiao was extremely shocked and hastily did his best to suppress anomaly, because if his moon eye were revealed at this moment, even if Ning Qiu grew 3 heads and 6 arms, she probably wouldn't be able to see him. Big brother Yangxiao are due, Zhang Rubing suddenly cried upon seeing Quet drenching Ling Shai forehead, his face as pale as if he had seen a god in broad daylight. Lang Xiao, not daring to batman his eyes at this moment, quickly replied I am fine, just a little, I'll be alright after resting Fo a bit. Jiang Robing came a V to pet him saying, key battle just now must have exhausted you, sit down and catch your breath, Don push yourself to wike point of losing your soul. She helped Li Yangxiao up to Li throne and let him slowly sit down to rest. Seeing this scene, everyone present felt a complex mix of unspeakable emotions in their hearts. Ning Qiu stepped forward, let me help do. Li Yangxiao trembled all of V, as if possessed by an evil spirit, hastily backed away saying no need, he'd ate just an old ailment flaring up, their ID absolutely no need to trouble do. Ning Qiu paused for a moment and then said, then do, a trace of doubt flickered in her eyes. Rune immediately asked sister, how do know the city loc of Yanwu City? Ning, we met by fate, so I know him. Rune once he knew she didn't want to say more, but since this guy even dared to cripple Dongman Yuan and openly offend Lai Knight Shadow Marshal Emperor Ling Bei, Wei's relationship between the two of them was definitely not as simple as she brushed a pea. Dongman Yo suddenly said in a deep voice, my lords, Key Moon Dial turning red proves that in 1 month, the earthly wasteland secret realm of 4 great domains will descend upon Purple Cloud Peak outside Red Moon City. ID this news true, Ruandu. Timing might differ slightly, but not by much. Dongman yachted, this matter has too many, I must return to soul-devouring Sect to report. As for my third brother ate matter, he hesitate, I hope your Sect can temporarily spare his life, our Sect master will definitely, Nind, I've never had any fond feelings for your soul-devouring Sect, even if Huangfu by himself, Dongman Yuan will most likely still have to go meet his ancestors. Everyone broke into a cold sweat upon hearing this, this demoness spoke so willfully that human lives seemed lighter than a strand of hair to her. Seeing Dongman Yo at face turn as be like see as key bottom of a pot, Ning Qiu coughed lightly and said after all, do belong to League 7 majors, so I will grant Huangfu by this small bit of face, though I find an outcome likely unchanged. Dongman Yo's expression finally softened slightly, he said then do lo Qiu, both matters are extreme, I must return to my Sect immediately. After speaking he left Cheng Hamaya behind and equipped Beiming Ken. Ro immediately fell. P-threat of Li had been eliminated, and Li Yangxiao possessed the iron medallion to Fiend Tren, while Cheng Homyo and Beiming Leifeng had also promised to secretly yield, the championship of Irina was practically in his pocket. Inside E City, Jing Chern also found it hard to suppress his excitement. Softly murmuring lies someone who had waited for 100 years finally, the immortal realm descends has arrived. Tianzi no matter what price I must pay, I will definitely did. Rune Hongyi looked at him worriedly and said, Leak power of Tianzi 80 too formidable. We should find Lai Yangxiao first to see if he can completely lift Rome 8 curse seal if he can, there ain't no need to plunge ourselves into danger. Jing Chern shook his head and said, ETID not just faux Rume, even faux key sake of Red Moon City, I must, once Red Moon City will rise above P other 6 set, and INT have to suffer in frustration every day due to my own helplessness. Ruin Hongyi heart ached upon hearing this, and she said sadly, Don't torment yourself lie that, what do you have done Idik already get enough? Jing Chern said in a deep voice, this ID also for my own sake, having cultivated my kernel, eat ID very difficult to make further, Tianzi might be P chance to help me break through on my martial path, if I obtain, Li Sakai will be high and EXE wide if I fail, I fear this path has reached its end. Ruan Hongyi drew CLU to him and said softly, no matter what, you must put your safety first. Whether faux Red Moon City, Jing Chern smiled, gently patted her hand and said don't worry, I am still one of rare experts under Y heavens, I be easily dragged away by Grim Reapers. What else are you worried about? This arena tournament no longer has a Zemo winning key championship ID practically set. Ruan Hongyu was startled. Why do you hold Zemo in such high regard? Lai Yangxiu 8 combat power ID clearly far superior. Jiang Chern smiled and said, on Kixti Gi we compare Bubiki Fixti, Eat ID a clash of overall attack. I believe Zemo will handle Matter Clay Youngxiu properly. If he cannot even do that much, he would truly disappoint. Rune Hongyu frowned, but looking at the current situation, Robing has no feelings for Zemo, she cares deeply about, laughed and said, Lai Yingxiao ID indeed a rare genius, but his identity IP far too mysterious. Leaving Rubing to Zemo still gives me more peace of mind as faux feelings, they will naturally grow V-time. What attracts her to Li Yingxiao IT merely his unusual mystery in, girls still need a sense of security. Rune Hongyu glared at him and said, it seems do understand women at hearts very well. If do are so, why didn't he do conquer that demoness as well? Jean burst a laughing and said, haven't he already conquered a demoness Lai do ha? Seeing Sister Q Leavely Peach Blossom Lodge quit her martial skills advancing another LV also makes me extremely happy. Quit earthly wasteland opening I can focus entirely on seeking. Ruan Hongyu was startled upon hearing this and said in a panic, Charon, Don talk as if you are leaving your last will and testament. It chills my heart to hear ye. Zhang Chern smiled and said, don't worry, nothing will happen to me. Eat ID just that if I get injured face an accident, Quet Sister Q guarding Red Moon. He and he suffered too much of an impact, immediately felt restless. Throwing like arena tournament completely to back of her mind quit no heart to think about eat anymore what, this ID Zhang Chern suddenly let a cry of SC, making Ruan Hongyi at heart thud violently as if squeezed by an invisible hand. Following her husband 8 gaze into the water mirror, she saw Li Yingxiao 8 thrown along quit other 6 slowly rising, seeming a bizarre. Ruan Hongyu said in astonishment, what ID going, she had never witnessed such a bizarre scene before. Zhang Rubing was stunned and asked her, what ID happening to him? Ning Q8 expression was extremely solemn as she said in a deep voice, a martial how can this be? Everyone in Li Qi Breeze and Bright Moon Garden panicked as if they had seen a gut, not knowing what to do, while Li Yongxiao was resting on a throne. A beam of light suddenly enveloped his body. League 7's created as Tren Retsu, slowly rising and continued to a formation dive. Everyone immediately recalled martial arts inherits that Rowan Zemo had mentioned. They were all red-eyed quid envy but could not utter a single quich. Rowan Hongyu said, "Were in Liki martial skills on Li's chaotic and sealed by Ki City Loki 10,000 years ago. Jane, that ID. But like Ki City Lok back then engraved his Martheth inheritance seal. Foso, no one could crack. Everyone thought Eat was merely empty rumor. Who would have thought that today, Eat would actually manifest?" A mark shoot. Ruin Hongyu stood frozen like a stone statue upon hearing. Jang Charonet's expression was extremely grave as he slowly. Li City Lok of that era was revered as Key's strongest expert in 10,000 years. Why thing that even he could not help but engrave? ID definitely no ordinary thing no matter what, we must keep this Li Yongxiao. Nian Tama was so jealous that his whole body trembled. Supreme martial arts of Red Moon City, a divine ability that for 10,000 years no one had inherited, had now fallen straight into Li Yongxiao 8 hand. If Ningqiu were not standing, he would have risked his life to check he forward and sever Wii inheritance even though he was heavily injured. Zhang Rubing asked in surprise, ID he receiving a martial technique inheritance. Ningqiu nodded and, this kid is such a fortune opportunity. He truly ID not a fish destined to stay in a pond. If do marry him, do one and lose. Zhang Rubing blushed like a ripe tomato and said, Pet, master I talking nonsense. He and I are just ordinary friends. Don't say things that ruin my reputation. Ningqiu shook her head and said, he doesn't. Anyway, no one can beat him in League Arena tournament. Marrying him ID can lie a matter of time. Feeling everyone 8 eyes upon, Zhang Rubing had spun with embarrassment. She stamped her foot and said, Master ID Tomb, I am not talking to do anymore. Ngayan too saw his son 8 face turn as pale as if he had seen a gut, and his own heart also wavered secret. He stepped forward and said, Sister, the peerless inheritance of our Red Moon City being obtained by an outsider ID probably not appropriate. Ningqiu replied, I didn't want an outsider to get either, but if do have leaky ability then take inheritance back for me to see. Least 7 thrones have been in Red Moon City for 10,000 years, why has no one ever captured them before? Ngayan said in a low voice, even if no one in Red Moon City has done 8 yet, it still belongs to Red Moon City. Sooner or later someone in Big City will receive. If we let it inheritance slip then 8 considered a complete loss. Ningqiu whispered, do want me to cut P his inheritance? Ngayan replied that 8, if Sister Q finds it inconvenient to take action then let me do it instead. In Ningqiu 8 eyes a freezing cold light flashed, she said coldly, do dare. She sneered and, do don't need to worry, after Rin, Yongxiao will also be, on Ngayan 2-8 face there was a hint of anger but he said no more. Just then, a voice echoed, throne inheritance appears once in 1,000 years, Tate all due to death, he must absolutely not be. Radiance flashed like a femme passing, Zhang Chenyan and Ngayan Hongok appeared hand in hand. Everyone from Red Moon City was startled and hurriedly stepped forward to bow City Loke. He younger generation and Lai then realized Kutsik that the person who had arrived was City Loke of Red Moon City, one of I-7 great Sect master. Everyone blood bowl could excite. Their eyes and their expressions were sweat. Jiang Chenian told everyone to rise and said, smile, congratulations sister, on stepping off from Li's shadow in your heart. Ningqiu mired and bowed, many thank for your concern. Zhang Chenian nodded slightly and said to many thanks everyone for traveling 10,000 miles to Red Moon City. Consider as giving me some face. Today 8 gather everyone can disperse. Arena tournament will be held in 3 days. No registration. All are welcome to. Everyone was overwhelmed by repeatedly saying they would deck. Then under Guyan 2 mod at arrangement they left one after another. Once everyone, Nguyen 2 hurriedly asked, Light's indeed an outsider. If we don't sever his inheritance. Red Moon City 8 peerless martial arts will be spread outside. Said seriously, I also understand. Regardless of whether Li Yingxiao can become a person of Red Moon City or not, Li Martial Core on E-Throne has not been inherited for many years, is obtaining EAT ID also a get thing. We can use him as a catalyst to find Let Ultimate Arts. If we randomly, who knows when we will encounter a next inheritor. Ningayan 2 was, for a moment not knowing how to reply. Ningqiu hearing the latter part was a bit worried. She said, if this ultimate art must be passed through E-Throne 8 inherit, it will surely be very hard to teach again. If Li Yongxiao, how does Y City Lok intend Foam to pass it on? Said, as Fo how to get him to hand V's inheritance. Sister does not need to worry. I am very curious about like relationship between Du and this person. Foam do cripple lobby second person in 8 statues. Indeed even hesitate to turn against a titled martial emperor. Such spirit ID indeed rare to match. Ningqiu, if Li method of transmission isn't he important then Leiki relationship between me and him ID even less worth mentioning. But if Du intend to use I soul searching method to retch inheritance in his memory, then P's story will become quiet. Zhang Chenian said if he can use his own method to pass down a P martial arts then eat 8 naturally best. If not soul searching ID still the most effective way, although their ID jar. As long as we keen tran eat carefully in on T affect him too much. Ningqiu used her eyebrows and said, P matter of soul searching needs no further discussion. City Lok should find another way to avoid causing such a fuss that everyone ID uncomfortable. And Goyan Hongok said angrily, ID Red Moon City 8 peerless inheritance not worth taking a risk fu once. Ningqiu indifferently spat out 2 cold words not on. Ningqiu, what identity are Du standing before me quit? And Goyan Hongok stepped closer. Are Du a demonic woman or a person of Lining family of Red Moon City? If Du are a demonic woman, Du can do whatever Du want, and Zhang Chenian can also expel Du from League City. If Du are a member of Yining family, Du must follow a city locate orders, and Q sneered and said, Don't bring that rotten logic ought to scare me. I am both a demonic woman and a person of Lining family. If he city locate command ID reasonable I will listen, if et, I can only laugh EP, and Guyan Hongok was so angry her chest heaved. As Li mistress of Li Jing family for many years no one had ever dared to confront her like this, even more frustratingly she could not even defeat person in front of her. Zhang Chenian said quit a headache, Dante continued. maybe we can easily obtain ultimate art. If we really have to go to that step, we will figure Ida then. My attitude very clear. Red Moon City 8 ultimate art must stay in Red Moon City. Q said with a smile. Of course he will stay. Lake Arena tournament ID in 3 days. Ask who can defeat Li Yongxiao. Sister Hong Ingok, he Idik about to become your son-in-law. Do you should care about him more nonsense? I absolutely. Guy and Hongok couldn't take it anymore. Directly let out vulgarity and said, I am Zhang Rubing 8 month. As long as I don T nod, even if his combat power Idik invincible under heaven eat ID useless. But Ningqiu laughed mock. Could it be that Ike Red Moon order issued by Brother Chenian, matter of using martial arts to determine a spouse, ID now going to be reneged on, now some conditions have suddenly sprouted, even having to wait fo parents to nod hub. What would Li heroes of world think of our Red Moon City? Seeing Ike to Iming, Zhang Chenian had instantly throbbed quit pain he spoke up, whether Li Yongxiao will participate in the arena tournament I did not even certain. Not to mention martial art inheritance cannot be completed in a say time ID truly too tight. I am in Lai afraid he won teammate he in time. And Guy and Hongok 8 eyes immediately lit up saying, in Lai 3 days arena tournament will we, if eat 8 a high, eat 8 not unusual folk inheritance to last for half a year or even a year. Haha if he wants to be a son in Law of my Red Moon City, forget about it in this life, just obediently wait Ningqiu snorted, as if in Lai do have a daughter in Red Moon City, worst comes to worst I will find a girl from Ning family to marry him, since when was 8 so hard to become a son in Law of Red Moon City. And Guy and Hongok was poked by her words to the point that her face turned green as if she were possessed by an evil energy. She burst into a rage and shouted loudly, "Do you truly are a loathsome wench who makes people despise you?" Zhang Rubing saw that Engi and Hongok was so angry she was almost smoking, knowing in her heart that her master was still one alive higher. Jiang Chenian spoke, "Let 8 put this matter aside Funa. We will discuss everything further after he wakes up. Key most important thing right now ID still time when Iki Earth Old Heaven Desolate opens. That time world will surely be shaken, masters of various sects will flock, creating immense pressure on the safety of Red Moon City." Caillou intentionally offended Ling Bei at this very, which Idik truly, Ngoyan Hongok said grimly, "Sister Caillou has God. What Idik won Ling Bei, she herself declared that if he has the ability, he should come and fight her. When that person, Sister Caillou will take care of it. We just need to sleep soundly." Jiang Chern frowned and said, "Don't be so quick-witty sarcasm at this moment everyone must cooperate. If Ling Bei, he ID enemy of all Red Moon City, and anyone must stand up to bear eat." Guy Ngok angrily said, "She brought back such a great enemy for Red Moon City, yet do still." Jiang Chern said, "Sister Caillou 8 approach ID not wrong, by crippling. Eat 80 not necessarily a bad thing for our Red Moon City. Even if Caillou hadn't acted, I would have done it myself, though not so rude. Her intervention saved Red Moon City from me, so outsiders wouldn't think East City Loke himself needed to clean up such petty thieves, while also keeping them from measuring depth of our strength." And Guy Nguyen said, "It our fault for our low cultivation. We have to trouble East City Loke quote everything." Jiang Chern shook his head and said, "On a path of march of effort but chance and talent are even more crucial." He glanced at Li Yongxiao quit envy inside, a character. Reaching this LV at such a young age, just thinking of his future achievements idea enough to send shivers down 1-8 spine. Ningqiu immediately struck while Gyron was hat. Then Gi City Loke might consider making him his son-in-law. Jiang Chern smiled. Matches are mostly arranged, but fate plays a very large. "Sister Caillou, what do you think of this?" Ningqiu was slightly startled then remained, not uttering a single. Jiang Chern smiled. "I have accidentally touched upon your sensitive spot again. Pre-diet, forcing in ID useless. Key most pressing concern ID key defense of Red Moon City in P near future. Greatest hidden danger ID Ling Bei." He said in a deep voice, "This man has remained hidden for many years. Back then, it was heard that he was pursued by Huang Fubi. I never understood why until today it matter quit Dongmen Yun. It likely has something to do quitty, if I am not mistaken, behind Lag Soul. Devouring Sect 8 great incident that year was very likely Ling Bei. Dongmen Yer killed countless fellow disciples and even injured Huang Fubi. Quit is current. It would be impossible without Ling Bei its secret help. In Gaian, quit the opening of Timeless Land this time, Huang Fubi might personally come to Red Moon City." John, Yuan Tuet reminder brought it back to mind. "I will immediately send a letter to Huang Fubi, inviting him to Red Moon City, partly to deal quit Dongmen Yu, and partly for extortion against unexpected." Ningen Yuan smiled and said, "If 2 sect masters are stationed in Red Moon City, plus Sister Q's strength equals a sect master, then Red Moon City will be as solid as a fortress cast in divine steel." Jing Chern glanced at Li Yongxiao sitting on Leipy throne and said, "Hangfeng during this period, Dio will lead elite troops to guard this place. Absolutely do not let anyone disturb him." Ning Hangfeng immediately bowed and accepted. Said, "La Brise and Moon Garden has elegant scenery where one can enjoy rare moon. I'll stay here for we time being." Everyone was not expecting Ningqiu to care for Li Yongxiao to such an extent. Sneered, "Could he be due done trust Hangfeng 8 strength?" Ningqiu smiled. "Hangfeng 8 ability to handle outsiders I naturally no problem. I and Lai worry about some powerful lady in Lai City who likes to throw her weight around. That 8 when things truly get troublesome." Jiang Chern shook his head and said, "If Sister QID willing to stay, nothing be I can also task Hangfeng quit a coming defense matters. Everyone disperse." He turned and left Quiggy and Hongok. Before leaving, she didn't forget to shoot a cold glance at Ning Qiu. Nguyen Yuan said, "Sister Qiu, I shall take my leave as well." At this moment, like most restless and anxious person was Nguyen Telang. He hadn't dared to reveal matter of Rainbow Bridge so far. No one knew inner D's. He wished he had wings to fly of Lee City and investigate. If anything really happened to Naishi, that responsibility would likely haunt him like a demon. While Yiming Tower at city gates was fun of heroes gathering. In a forest outside Red Moon City, birds were flying in panic and wild beasts were fleeing in madness. A BLIC figure continually dashed through deep forest like a spectre, covering 100 miles in Li blink of an eye. That ferocious face belonged to Pape that had escaped from Li Yongxiao 8 hands earlier. Suddenly a man appeared right in front of Eid, lightly waving his right hand through empty air. A long spear immediately materialized. Era's Gamanate cold face gradually came into view. It was Lugian. Thrusting fear forward, he said with a grave expression, "So ye truly a d atavistic, are due from lead holy id this result of forcefully breaking gene chain seal in your body." He spun Lee's spear sharply and said in a cold voice, "If you've completely let your sanity, then let me see what kind of weird mystery ID hidden within your genetic chain." Luke's innate body suddenly turned into an aftermatch, speeding forward. In lice, Keef and Tom of an azure John suddenly appeared behind him, and Royal God Moon spear in his hand undulated, transforming into a swin. Lee's spear tip struck down from air like heavenly three trebulation, smashing violently. Mustered all its strength, desperately throwing its head back and letting out a roar that shook mountains and forests. He charged, swinging a fist as he vias an iron hammer to strike forcefully. A terrifying force spread through Lee Arif. Lee Keep 8-fist power actually managed to forcibly shatter Luke King in 8 spear move. What on earth ID happening this power? Could it be that another gene chain has been released? At that terrifying possibility, Luke King in 8 face went pale quit see, his panic gaze locked on a P8. One could in see 2 deep red blood patterns rising on a Keep 8 chest line meridians, so distinct that it made 1/8 spine shiver. Lathan Van quickly composed himself and said in a solemn voice, "If you have already opened Ike's second gene chain, your sanity certainly cannot be risked. Why not let me study E's secrets of these 2 gene chains so your death has some value?" In his eyes, a surge of passion flared up. A true John Dharma body was immediately manifested. Quat scales emerging from his skin as keyhole dragonification was completed in an instant. God Bright Moon Spear, driven by Wagian, also burst forth quite a profound array of power, its cold tip pointing directly at a monkey ahead. In death return to Y earth and become dust. In life, CZ method to break seals and obey your own bloodline. La, raising his long spear high quit his right hand as he soared straight into Lee Sis Kai, merging man and spear into one fu find a decisive strike. Under Lee's suppression of Lai Gene 8 might, 8 body trembled slightly, but its fierce face became even more vicious. Lai a malevolent get that had just broken awe of its coffin. E gritted its fangs, gathered all its ferocious, and delivered a puff. Just as we Imperial God Bright Moon Spear tore through wind in space, an unstoppable surge of ancient intent billowed off from Lee's spear shaft. Lai a god awakening after an endless slump, 2 streaks of overbearing power. Like long spear, pierced through all obstacles and directly severed Eep 8 head. A mist of wacky red blood suddenly exploded in front of Lathan Van. Hey, wasn't he as powerful as I imagined? At this moment something within my Ape 8 body appeared. What appeared was E's sealing array of E2 gene chains. At this moment, both were in a state of being completely Ubai. Within that sealing, Li 2 red bloodline patterns gradually grew fainter. They broke into segments one after, turning into dim streaks, lion dissipating into. Lathan Van slightly narrowed his eye, immediately imprinting the entire pattern of that array deep into his consciousness. Alone, Lathan Van opened his eyes and said self, "Ape of today might be Than Van of future." In Hong, after heard, Lai's story between Ninkayat and Dongmonveen quickly spread through streets, as noisy as a festival of 100 ghosts. Someone said in surprise, "Nenkalgayat Idika beast tamer and even controls a battle pigeon to fight. Do you actually thought such person immediate, although I didn't see 8 myself. P senior sister of Li female superior of Likey son of Li neighbor of Ki maternal uncle of my third great aunt saw, how could she lie to me?" Another person snorted, "Eat niece of my second uncle 8 7th brother ID a maid Fui head of Ki Kwang family in Hong. In Gayat City she personally said that Ninkayat carries Ki pigeon bloodline and during battle, she transformed in Badger before defeating Dongmon. Do should know that at Likey same LV, spirit beasts are quite a bit more powerful than human." This speculation sound, but it ain't not likey truth yet. We fact ID that 9 Kagayat originally belonged to Demon Clan and has been secretly kept by Hong Gayat City Fu years. Api recent battle was just a small taste of her skills. In Gian residence, after Gian Talang recounted Li events at Rang, New Gain to immediately slapped him, sending him flying. Though it was so painful that he felt his soul might leave his body, and Gian Talang at heart felt slightly lighter. And Guyan 2-8 face was white quit rage as he shouted, "Do spendthrift child, do really want to provoke me to death before do resatisfied." He immediately rushed all of City in a hurry, and Guyan Tuma also looked grave and said to Lang, "Do you really caused a huge disaster to although Uck Rainbow Stone ID outside Key City, its importance Ike, it even relates to the whereabouts of Old City Log, do truly handled things without considering weight of your actions." Guyan to Lang clutched his swollen face and nearly burst into tears. "How could I have known that Li Van Tu could defeat 3 martial emperors? Co-brothers are not ordinary martial emperors, and they had an array Foos Put. This was originally a guarantee. Of course Li Van Tu couldn't he have done it alone. There must have been some other development while Du were away. I am afraid in Li he knows inside story. Fortunately, he ate still at Thenfong Men in Gaiat Garden. There might still be a turning point. During this time stay obediently a Gaian residence and do not step outside. Everything will await Father Ate. He pondered for a moment, then immediately dashed toward Thenfong Minute Garden. On B2nd, as Wai Kwang family married their daughter, B whole city was dressed and vibrant. Both sides of Lee streets were covered quite countal and nog gentle wee petal, spreading fragrance. In the middle of the square, a martial arena was temporarily from a mysterious, and spectators crowded into the city at largest. Everyone was eagerly waiting to see lively martial competition to select a groom. Behind arena was an observation platform built entirely of white jade. Kwang Nuok Bang, dressed in red bridal attire, her head covered by a veil, sat upright and, flanked on both sides by rows of maidservants standing in a tight. Kwang Sonin and Nguyen Hongok appeared hand in hand, instantly causing a stir among crowd as deafening cheers filled the Fuki City. Lok of Hongayat City had rarely made an appearance lately, and even Lee City 8 residents had seldom seen him in person. Kwang So Nian nodded to ranking officials and distinguished guests. He said, I then do also traveling great distances to attend my daughter 8 martial arts tournament to choose a son-in-law. I am deeply honored. Witnessing outstanding prowess of realm at younger generation I seek a rare pleasure in life. The rules have already been proclaimed to all, so I shall not be long-winded. Let us begin. On's martial arts Stigi. A man dressed in a brown long robe appeared, his hair fluttering, and he cupped his hands in a respectful bow and said, I am Quan, lag host of this tournament to choose a son-in-law. All victories and defeats shall be decided by me. Eat now official. Anyone who wishes to participate may step on to die. At that same moment inside attack, figure dressed in menate clothing was drinking alcohol frantically, as if trying to drown Li rage in her heart within he burning spirits. Suddenly she looked up and murmured, taste of this wine, I finally understand why Master called you drunk in oblivion. Right then, a burst of clear laughter suddenly rang. Slowly, while reason do carry so many troubles ID that your memory ID to get, however, deluding yourself to force yourself to forget will never be path to liberation.